Hello, grade 10 students. Welcome to our virtual class for the third quarter, week 5. I'm Abigail Sarmiento, your science teacher. Our lesson for today is about biodiversity and evolution. Introduction. Do you know why dinosaurs no longer exist today? Why some animals before are very different from the animals we have now? From grade 7 to grade 9, you have learned that organisms are grouped into kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. You also learned that organisms possess unique characteristics. Some organisms may look the same but have distinct differences from each other. Others may not be related to one another but they have similar functional features and characteristics. You may also wonder why some animals that are present before do no longer exist today. Such extinction of organisms was caused by various environmental factors and human activities. This module will give you an idea that maintaining individual differences and variety of characteristics are important to ensure the survival of species. This module will also discuss the different sources of possible evidence for evolution such as fossil records and developmental and molecular biology which gave way to the different concepts about the origin of life. It will also provide a variety of activities to help you understand the processes and mechanisms of evolution. Sources of evidence for evolution. Organisms inhabiting the earth have changed over time. Their structures, traits, and abilities allow them to adapt and survive in their environment. Data from the fossil records, anatomy and morphology, embryonic development, and biochemistry could be analyzed to demonstrate if evolution of life on Earth has taken place. Evidence from fossil records. Have you ever seen fossils of any organism? Fossils are examples of evidences that paleontologists use in studying evolution. They are traces of organisms that live in the past and were preserved by natural process or catastrophic events. They can be remains of organisms which include bones, shells, teeth, and also feces embedded in rocks, peat, resin, and ice. Paleontologist is a person who studies fossils. Most fossils were commonly found in the sedimentary rocks. They were from the hard parts of the organism like woody stem, bones, or teeth. Another type of fossil is an imprint or impression. Imprints are shallow external molds left by animal or plant tissues with little or no organic materials present. Compression is the other side with more organic material. Determining the age of fossils. Do you know how a paleontologist usually determines the age of a fossil? Paleontologists make initial estimates of the age through the position in the sedimentary rocks. Fossils found in the bottom layer are much older than those found in upper layer of rocks. Relative dating is a method used to determine the age of the rocks by comparing them with the rocks in the other layer. The younger sedimentary rock layer is assumed to be found on top and the older rock is found at the bottom layer. Fossils found at the bottom layer are assumed to be older than those on the upper layer. The fossils of invertebrates found at the bottom part of the rock layer suggest that invertebrates are probably one of the first and oldest organisms that live on Earth. Another method is through the use of radioactive isotopes such as carbon-14. Radiometric dating is a method used to determine the age of rocks using the decay of radioactive isotopes present in rocks. All organisms have decaying carbon-14 in it. Plants and animals that are still alive constantly replace the supply of carbon in their body, and the amount of carbon-14 in their body stays the same. When an organism dies, carbon-14 starts to decay. Carbon dating is used to tell the age of organic materials. Art collectors use carbon dating to determine if a piece of artwork is genuine or not. One way scientists determine the age of fossils is by checking the amount of radioactive carbon-14 in the fossil. Carbon-14 breaks down or decays to form nitrogen-14. The rate of this decay is constant. Example, half of the remaining carbon-14 breaks down every 5,730 years. Earth will always be the most accessible, habitable planet for study. Consequently, studying the origin and earliest evolution of life, along with the long-term evolution of the Earth's environments, helps us understand why the Earth became habitable and why terrestrial life has persisted for billions of years. Era is the largest division of geologic time scale, namely Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. Each era is further divided into period. Hint of evolution from comparative anatomy. Another hint of evolutionary concept is from the comparative anatomy. Structures from different species which have similar internal framework, position, and embryonic development are considered to be homologous. Homologous structures may perform different functions in the species living in the different environment, or it may have the same origin but different functions. Here are some examples of homologous structures: forelimbs of dog, bird, lizard, and whale, which are structurally the same but functionally different. Structures of unrelated species may evolve to look alike because the structure is adapted to similar function. These are called analogous structures. Analogous structures have similar functions but different origin. Examples are wings of birds, bats, and insects that have the same function but different in origin. Front legs of man, cat, horse, bat, whales, and other mammals are made up of same kinds of bones. They just vary only in size and function differently. The presence of homologous structures is a strong indicator that the organisms evolved from common ancestors. This type of evolution is called divergent evolution. Divergent evolution is the splitting of an ancestral population into two or more subpopulations that are geographically isolated from one another. Convergence is an increase in similarities among species derived from different ancestors as a result of similar adaptation to similar environment. In convergent evolution, analogous structures of unrelated organisms from different ancestors develop similar functions such as butterfly wings and bird wings. Evidence from embryonic development. An embryo is an early stage of development in organisms. Embryonic development includes stages such as blastula, gastrula, and organogenesis. The embryo of fishes, salamanders, lizards, birds, cats, and humans are similar during the first stage of their embryonic development. and have several homologous structures that are not present when the organisms are adults. Studies show that species that are closely related exhibit similar embryonic development. Even when in the adult stage, the organisms are quite different. The stages of embryonic development of different vertebrates. We have the fish, salamander, lizard, bird, cat, and humans. Another evidence of evolution is provided by the biochemical analysis and amino acid sequence of organisms' DNA. And that is it for today's lesson. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel GAITF, or you can log into our account at lcms.gaitf.com so that you can answer the quizzes and activities given by the teacher. Thank you for listening.